that we have some exciting players to talk about, primarily Owen Beck, who after 25 games is on 7 goals, is on 20 points. Everybody has been talking lately, in the last 2 weeks anyway, about Jake Evans, an elite level PK player for the Montreal Canadiens. And that you need Jake Evans. You need fundamentally strong players on your depth chart to do the work for you. Well, guys like Owen Beck are learning the tricks of the trade. Is that still true? Can you envision a world in which Jake Evans is not a Canadian next year? Owen Beck slides in, gets graduated, has a good camp, breaks camp as a Canadian, and the Montreal Canadiens aren't going to miss Jake Evans that much. Is that where your confidence is at with Owen Beck? Let's walk me through it.
I will tell you right now, I don't think Owen Beck can fill Jake Evans' shoes just yet.
Okay.
I think that Owen Beck has more offense, and if you're projecting for Owen Beck is probably the guy that plays, second line or third line center, middle six. Jake Evans is a bottom six.
Yeah.
You know what he is. I think it's very important for the Canadiens to keep Jake Evans. Assign him to a 2 or 3 year deal. I understand price tag. Jake Evans is getting one shot. Some players get 2, 3 shots of free agency at the best season that they're playing. Jake Evans, this is the only one he's getting.
I feel the same. I feel strongly
good for
about
him
that.
and do what he wants.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be in charge of Jake Evans. This is the one time he's going to have the power. And I don't know if he can really go out there and negotiate a $4 million deal. But if you're talking about 2.5, 3 million, 3 and change, I'm keeping Jake Evans because I think it's important. Because why not next year have Jake Evans and Owen Beck? That's okay because you're going to need a year of Owen Beck realizing how the NHL works. And yeah, he might be great at it, but you could have Jake Evans as your third and then Owen Beck as your fourth. And then a year into the progression, Jake Evans slides into your fourth line center. He's going to be a beautiful 30-year-old fourth line center, and Owen Beck is throwing some offense up as your third line center. Owen Beck is a little more offensive than we thought. Okay, he could be a second line center.
Right.
And I've watched Jake Evans from the get-go with Laval. Jake Evans, and here's the difference. Jake Evans in year 1 with Laval was a fourth line center iceman in Laval and played like a fourth line centerman. By the end of his tenure, 4 years later, he was a first line centerman just because he got the league and understood it. But he was never going to be a first line center in the NHL. You already knew where he was destined to go. I will tell you, I've been so impressed with Owen Beck offensively, penalty kill wise, face off wise, every situation the coach is putting him out there, and he's excelling at. First year, Jake Evans never got that. He wasn't like that. He was defensive, defensive, defensive. Owen Beck is showing me offense in his first year as a pro. Mm-hmm. I'm curious if Owen Beck plays another year in the AHL next year. Maybe that's the case. He might be one of the league's top scorers because the guy just gets better with every single game.
Well, he's the top scorer on Laval now with 20 points and 7 goals, And how valuable is it to have a guy like Alex Barré-Boulet there to learn from, like an older pro, I know the Canadiens got him in the summer, and he's not someone like he had a very good camp. I remember talking to Mark Denis about him and saying, "Oh, look, I mean, here's a man with experience." And then boom, they send him to Laval, in August, to give a couple of guys like Oliver Kapanen a longer look. But Alex Barré-Boulet is as a pro as they come. He's on 19 points and 6 goals. Whether it's NHL or AHL, having guys who have played the circuit before are very valuable, right? Like, you put some stock into Owen Beck and having an Alex Barré-Boulet to watch and learn from.
I think so. And look, that's a good example. Barré-Boulet is if you look at Syracuse Crunch, he's their all-time point leader.
I didn't know that.
Right. Like, this is the kind of thing that he brings to the table.
Like, he's a great AHLer. Yeah.
Yeah. You give the example, Brandon Gignac, same, right. Drafted 3rd round and, been trying to tween in for a while, had his dream come true, played a handful of games, but kind of stuck in the middle there as that great AHLer. You need those kind of guys. If you want to win, go look at the teams that win in the AHL. It's the Hershey's that are chock full of AHL veterans that know how to win in the league. So having those players around, absolutely. But does Owen Beck want to model himself after someone that never really made it? So
No.
that's, and I'm not saying that they model, but having that sense of professionalism. I think that having Pascal Vincent helps. I think that, you know, when I look at the way that Owen Beck is having success, I look at the players that he's playing with. So if Beck was playing with Barre Boulet and let's say Joshua on the top
Mhm.
line, I'd be like, okay, Barry Boulet is a great mentor, and I'm not saying that he's not. That's great. Owen Beck's having this success by playing with Jared Davidson, who is having a career year at the AHL level, someone that has fans should be talking about, and Sean Farrell, who's having an awful year. Sean Farrell has 2 points in 20 games and
And
hasn't
didn't he
even
score? Did he
scored.
score on Friday? Did he score
Uh,
on Saturday? I think he scored Saturday.
yeah, this is his first of the year, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but that's that's kind of a prospect that half times are like, oh, what about that Sean Farrell or the Riley Kidney? Those are the players
Mhm.
that he's playing with. Owen Beck is
Right.
running the show on his own line without the help of those veterans that you're talking about. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm impressed with.
Hey, Raphael Harvey Pinard, 10 games, 2
I
goals.
Yeah, but okay, so on RHP, it's the same thing I preach with knee injuries. The guy had no off season to train. He had no training camp, and now he's just thrown into the mix. I didn't expect fireworks. He, I will never, ever, ever doubt Raphael Harvey Pinard, and he might need a season in the AHL to
Oh,
get his
wow.
groove back for next year. It's unfortunate, and maybe down the stretch with injuries, he might be a guy that they call because of the experience that he's going to bring. But just when you have an injury that happens in June or July, it kills your season because you
Mhm.
don't get to do what you normally do to prepare yourself. And I think that right now, thrown in the mix, thrown conditioning stint, he's just trying to find his groove a little bit. Just be
Yeah.
patient. He's
So
he's one of the
in
hardest working professional athletes I've ever seen. So just give him time.
in closing, Jake Evans, 3 years, 9 million bucks. If you're Jake Evans, you sign on the dotted line if you get that offer from Montreal.
I
3
think
years, 9 million.
Montreal would love if he signed.
Yeah.
I would offer that.
Yeah.
Um, but it depends what Jake Evans wants to do, man. Because I
Because
think
he can dip again. Like he could sign, he'll be 31, 32. He can get another
yeah,
contract.
yeah, but probably not a $10 million contract. And if he goes to the
Well,
open
we'll see where
market,
the cap's at. We'll see. They're saying
yeah,
the cap's going to go crazy, right? So we'll see. And so that's the perspective. Sean Campbell covering the Laval Rocket. Owen Beck. In the perfect world, Jake Evans here for 3 more years. Owen Beck more seasoning in the American Hockey League and incrementally builds his way up to perhaps one day being the mainstay third line center for the Montreal Canadiens.